Am I the a-hole for not splitting the proceeds of the sale of our parents' house? When my mom died, back in 2018, she left me and my siblings a decent chunk of money and her house. My siblings wanted to sell the house and split the money, but I wanted to keep the house. It's a unique property with a pretty big lot in the middle of the city. The house is 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. There is a pretty awesome deck, and most importantly, not in an HOA. I had some sentimental attachment to it, but mostly I thought the house was better for my situation than a pile of cash. So I asked them if I could buy them out, and they were pretty excited about the idea. The house would stay in the family and they still get their cash. We got it appraised, hired an attorney, and went through with it. My portion of the inheritance and a chunk of my own savings were enough to cover their shares. As soon as it was done, me and my then fiancé moved in. We saved a bunch on rent. The house was paid off, location was great, and we were really happy with the house. My brother burned through the cash in 2 years. He fancied himself an influencer. He bought a Maserati for cash, went to expensive nightclubs, vacationed in exotic places. Good for him, but money's gone. My sister and her husband bought a really expensive boat. I guess that's better. They did use it pretty often and my nephews love it. But from what I understand, her portion of the money's gone too. I got married and we had a son. We would host my siblings on holidays and at Christmas before COVID, and I started to notice it. They were making snide comments about how much the house must be worth now. Since 2018, we had an influx of people to my city. It's growing rapidly, and the price of the house essentially tripled. We've had a bunch of all-cash offers on the house when we weren't thinking of selling. But this year, we decided to move. My wife was pregnant again, and we were going to relocate closer to her family. I talked to my boss, and he said a place we were moving to had an office I could commute to on the days I work in the office. So we put the house on the market, and it sold pretty quickly, and that's when the trouble started. Both of my siblings think that I owe it to them to split the profit I made, because it's only fair. We were in the middle of a move-in house hunting in a new place, so I didn't really have time to go on about this. Well, it's been months, and they have not stopped bothering about how I cheated them out of a portion of their inheritance, and I was being really selfish. They point out that the process of me buying them out was pretty smooth. We didn't have any problems or hiccups, and they did me a favor by not kicking up a fuss. Now they want to split the profit, because it was their house too. This has become really toxic, and most of my family's on their side. My mom's sister says it would have broken her heart to see her kids fight like this, and I should just split the money with my siblings. My dad's sister thinks I should buy them off so they shut up. Am I the a-hole for refusing to split the money? Not the a-hole. The fact that they didn't understand that you can either invest or spend an inheritance is not your problem. They chose to spend their inheritance, while you chose to invest yours. Now that they've pissed theirs away, it's on them. One squandered it on an expensive car that lost value the moment it came off the lot. The other wasted it away on a floating money pit. If Opie gave them more money, you can guess they will squander it. Opie made a fair deal, not the a-hole. With those types of investments, they'd still be broke, even if they had all sold the house to begin with. Not the a-hole. It's not your fault that the house is worth more now than when you bought out your siblings. I'd point out that all 3 of you invested your inheritance in different ways, and yours is the only one that paid off financially. Personally, I'd be drawing up a list of all the costs maintaining the house, taxes, etc., including renovations or new appliances/furniture being left, and tell the siblings that if they are willing to pay for 1/3 each of that, then they can have a split of the profit. However, only after what you would have gotten selling the house in 2018 was taken off. If they want the profit from the house, then they can split the cost of getting/keeping the house in good shape the past 5 years so that it would be worth the amount. It's not even worth entertaining that idea. It'll make them feel like they are justified in wanting something from the house. Opie bought them out, and if the house had turned into a money pit and Opie had lost money on it, they would certainly not be offering him money to cover his losses. They wanted to sell the house and split the money. They effectively did that, except that the house was bought by Opie and not some stranger. Opie does not owe them absolutely anything. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my friend to move with me and my children? I am a 32-year-old widow to 3 young children. We live in a small but cute 3-bedroom that is too small for us, but due to cost of living and COVID, we ended up renting the home longer than originally expected. The house has a renovated garage-type space in the back, and about 6 months ago my friend Trish asked if she could stay because she had nowhere to go with her 2 kids. I told her that's fine, but that I would not be renewing my lease because I am purchasing a home. Trish has not saved any money nor got any job. I reminded her last week that I would start putting in offers on homes this week. We put in an offer this past Friday and found out today that I was accepted. I let Trish know that if things went well, we would be leaving in 30 to 45 days. She asked me about the house and then said that the house doesn't have a space for her and her kids, but otherwise it was perfect. I thought she was joking and said that once we get settled, we will figure out something for sleepovers with the kids. Trish seemed totally taken off guard. She said that she didn't think I was really going to move without her and that she had nowhere to go and she would be homeless. She called her sister, and her sister said no, she can't stay because their grandmother already lives there and there is no more space. Trish is now freaking out and saying that we've all turned our back on her. Her parents don't have their own place, nor do their grandparents. I recommended income-based housing and a job, but she said she doesn't want to put her kids in daycare. She says that I have more than enough money to help her and still buy a house. I work 2 jobs and have busted my butt to buy this house and have enough money for furniture and everything to be the way I want. So I basically told her I can't help her and the lights will be out on September 15th. Am I the a-hole for leaving her with nowhere to go? Not the a-hole. You gave her 6 months. She is not working and she is not planning to work. Her plan is to exploit you. That's the part that's outrageous to me. You work 2 jobs, and she apparently feels that it's fine for you to support her joblessness? She wants you to enable her to be a stay-at-home mom. She's basically using OP as a substitute partner. This is gonna continue until OP kicks her out, or she finds another person to bankroll her. Trish is not your friend. She is angling to be your dependent, trailing her 2 kids with her. I wouldn't let her have your new address if you haven't already given it. I'd be very careful about allowing her entry to your new home at all for that matter. Not the a-hole, and no sleepovers for the kids. She'll try to leave them with you or stay herself. Watch out for all mails. Make sure there's nothing with her name coming to your new address. She might try to claim residency. She doesn't have the address for the new house. I also wasn't planning sleepovers, but didn't want to hurt her feelings. The new house is gated and you have to show ID to get in. My sister told me to tell security about her. Your sister is a wise woman. Don't stress about this though. Moving house is stressful enough. It's a shame that you've stumbled onto a take-a-mile person posing as a friend, but most people aren't like her. She'll find a new person to try and bleed dry soon, and you'll be her new sob story. Because it's definitely not her fault she has no home, and no one left who will support her. Congratulations on achieving this awesome-sounding new home for you and your children. Enjoy the fruits of your labors. Next story. Am I the a-hole for retiring and moving to South America like every single person in my family knew I planned to do since I was 16? I'm male 55, just pulled the pin on my retirement. I put in 33 years of work and I'm done. I bought property in South America 12 years ago, and I have been building our retirement home down there. I have dual citizenship, so I can own property without it being a hassle. The house was designed to be perfect for us. We have a pool, a small house for the caretaker/gardener, and 34 different fruit trees. The bathroom is up to North American standards, and the showers, grab bars, and stuff already built in for when I'm old. Everything is on one level, so there are no stairs. My wife helped by making suggestions to the designs of the house and by taking care of decorating it. We have been vacationing there for 8 years now, and renting it out when we aren't there for some extra money. We have hosted friends and family there, both with us there and on their own. My wife has now decided that she doesn't want to live there for 7 months of the year. We have grandkids now, and she wants to be more involved in their lives. I love my kids and grandkids, and my parents also live up here. But I am done with winter. If I never see snow again, it will be too soon. The house has guest rooms and flights are cheap. If they want to see me in the winter, they are all welcome to come down. Plus, I will be back for 5 months in the summer to do some contract work, and I will see everyone then. My wife said she didn't want to go down this winter, and that is absolutely her right. I booked my flight for September, and she asked me about the expense on the credit card. I said I was leaving for the winter like I had told everyone I was planning to do. This is when she said that she didn't want to go this winter actually meant she didn't want us to go this winter. I said that I was going and that I would see her in the spring unless she changed her mind and came down. Now her, my parents and my kids are bugging me about leaving her alone for the winter, but it is 100% her choice. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. You can't force her to live there, but you can't force you to live where you don't like either. If I never see snow again, it will be too soon. Same here. I hate snow. After one particularly bad winter, I vowed to be somewhere warm by the next winter. It started an entirely different life path for me. OP, if you aren't happy in the snow and cold and the short depressing days, then you don't need to be there. Not the a-hole. This is such an AITA response where everyone is an island. Married people make compromises for each other. There is a middle ground where they spend 3 of the worst winter months in South America together, and then OP heads back alone for a couple of weeks here and there throughout the year. People are allowed to change their minds about where they want to live long term. Wife isn't an aunt because she became more attached to her grandkids than she anticipated. Yeesh. When wife said she didn't want to be away 7 months anymore, there has to be a big discussion, and they both have to give a little. To just shrug like he is fine with it, and then book flights without saying anything is a huge a-hole move. The members of this board must be deeply lonely or hate their spouses, since the majority thinks this is a-okay. These two might as well divorce if OP is happy to spend 7 months of the year away from his wife and doesn't care about her wishes. While I agree about it being a discussion that needed to happen, literally everything you say here also applies to the wife who is not compromising either. Also, a 7-year plan of retirement isn't something you back out of suddenly. This has been OP's life goal for literally their whole marriage, and it is pretty clear that was well communicated, given the buying, vacationing, and prepping for this every part of his life. She's entitled to change her mind, but frankly, this is a pretty huge slap in the face for him. It's sort of akin to someone working toward getting into law school with their partner's support, and when they're finally accepted, the partner is saying they actually didn't want to relocate now. Sure, fine, but that's relationship-breaking preference. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law she shouldn't have married my brother if she wanted for her child to have a big brother? Sister-in-law and my brother got married 3 years ago and now have a 2-month-old daughter together. My brother has a son, Jax, 18, who was raised by his maternal grandparents from the age of 5 after his mom passed away. My brother was not part of Jax's life. I was. I have made an effort to be a big part of his life. I see him as much as possible. He has spent the night at my house several times. He's my nephew, and I was never going to abandon him the way my brother did. Sister-in-law asked me to give her Jax's contact info when she was pregnant, so she could tell him he was going to have a little sister. I told her that Jax did not want her or his dad to have the contact info, and he already knew she was pregnant. She asked how, and I told her I'd let him know, because he had always wanted to know if my brother or someone else in my brother's life might try to reach out to him. He's not interested. He's felt that way for years, and I respect that. Having a half-sibling coming into the world means nothing to him. As far as he's concerned, he will always be an only child because he only has one parent, his mom. Sister-in-law decided to track Jax down on social media before her baby's shower to invite him. He never replied and he didn't show, which I knew beforehand. Sister-in-law was upset about it and vented to me. I mostly ignored her. It was after my niece was born that the incident in question happened. Sister-in-law reached out to Jax again and was blocked and reported for harassment. She was upset and said it wasn't fair Jax was taking it out on her daughter and that she deserves to have her big brother in her life, despite my brother's mistakes in letting him be out of his life. She was getting very blamey toward Jax, and I did not want to hear it. I told her if she had wanted her child to have a big brother, then she shouldn't have married a deadbeat dad. She shouldn't have married my brother, because they have zero right to expect Jax to want anything to do with any of them. Sister-in-law countered that Jax wanted me in his life, and I told her I was there from day one and never let my brother's actions take me out of his life. I showed up when my brother didn't, and I stayed friendly with his grandparents and he saw that. I told her that she didn't get to demand anything from him when she knowingly married my brother. Sister-in-law said I was blaming her for no reason, and I should be more understanding that as a mom she wants the best for her kid. Am I the a-hole for what I said to her? As a mom she wants the best for her kid. Then she shouldn't have married a deadbeat dad, not the a-hole OP. The entitlement is strong with his sister-in-law. What's really sad is she apparently didn't care about meeting Jax and brushed aside the warning that she was dating a deadbeat till her baby was involved. Was this really only about roping a teenager who could be made to babysit because she's your sister? She said it herself. She wants what is best for her kid. Jax isn't hers and is treating him like a commodity. She isn't respecting him or thinking of him. You're not the a-hole for supporting your nephew, as it's especially clear this woman is as much a piece of work as her brother. Not the a-hole. Your sister-in-law clearly doesn't care about Jax for his feelings. How does she think it would make him feel to see his dad, who abandoned him, acting like a dad to their daughter? She wants her daughter to know her big brother? Too bad. Her husband burned that bridge, and she clearly doesn't actually care enough to repair it. She wants to contact Jax for her own selfish reasons, not actually for family. Good job supporting your nephew and showing him that he's loved and wasn't completely forgotten and abandoned by his father's family. Keep defending and supporting him. He clearly needs you.